fine. Jordan deserves some praise, and in this context, Egypt some praise in some other contexts that you mentioned before. No one is sitting here saying no Arabs.
Kuwait.
Hold on, no Arabs. The history of Kuwait on this score is not one to be trumpeting.
Well, then you're ignoring the early years in which a huge number of Palestinians
Well, there was this minor matter of 1991, 92.
Sure,
So let's concentrate on the big picture. Bottom line is, I think there's a lot of truth to what the questioner said, and here I think you have to go that certainly a number of Arab states and a good deal of the Palestinian leadership over the years had preferred, the public logic being the one that the foreign minister here has mentioned, that this, not to keep people in refugee camps essentially would be to play into the hands of Israel. But I think there was a calculation that keeping people poor and miserable and angry would somehow be a good thing for the movement. And I don't think that's been the case. And if you don't think this was a matter of policy, both Arab and Palestinian, you're very naive.
Do you want to just answer that quickly?
I think you're wrong. You're taking Lebanon and Syria and you're whitewashing the entire Arab world, and you're guilty of the same kind of generalization that the Israelis are.
I'm making an exception for
Jordan.
Jordan.
Let's repeat that. Lady in white.
Please. Especially since it's so silly.
Mr. Michael Tarazi, you keep saying that the Arab governments are not the only ones to blame, but the question is whether they are to blame or not.
Right, and I agree with you. And so if you take a look at what they were able to do, which was the second point of my discussion, in terms of military capacity, what they actually tried to do, in terms of economically with the oil embargo, in terms of diplomatically and recently as 2002, to say that they haven't done anything and they have failed the Palestinians, let's be serious. The Arabs are not a diplomatic, economic powerhouse.
Can you just finish?
We are not a military superpower. So given the limitations that we have to work under, let's not pretend we're superheroes. Given the limitations that we have done the best we can. To blame them for that, I think is very unfair.
This is the best. The oil embargo, perfect case.
Just a very brief point here.
Perfect case in point. It achieved absolutely nothing except making most ordinary Americans believe that Arabs, Saudis, and people in the Gulf were criminals ripping them off. Did zero to help the Palestinians, and actually covered up the fact that U.S. oil companies were responsible for raising the price of oil. It was insane.
Gentleman in the fifth row.
If you want a failure, that's the grandest failure you could ever imagine.
Thank you very much. Gentleman in the fifth row.
I don't understand why diplomatic inroads are being so neglected. When we call for isolation and whatnot, that's prelude to more often than not war. You cited Iraq as putting it in isolation, but you've seen what's happened there, and then you expect to isolate Israel, a nuclear power, and hope that it just reacts well. No. I don't see how that, in the entire Arab world, only two countries, Jordan and Egypt, making diplomatic gestures towards Israel, both heavily dependent on U.S. foreign aid, can be cited as credible examples when the rest of the world should be, the rest of the Arab world should follow suit.
Look, it's too late. I said it's too late actually now to isolate it. It's too late. The opportunity was missed. But if you break off relations or if you withdraw your ambassadors, as in fact Egypt has done that, it actually sends a signal. It sends a signal to the Palestinians who are dying under Israeli bombs that actually somebody cares about
You're
them.
saying it's too late, but you still want a signal sent.
No. I'm talking about an isolation of Israel. But two issues he talked about. Isolating Israel, and the other was cutting off relations or withdrawing or cutting off diplomatic relations. It actually does send a signal, which I think is quite important.
It is much better to empower the Palestinians who have an elected leadership that for the first time in a long time is pursuing a plausible diplomatic strategy. They need aid in the form of billions, and the present day scandal, the scandal of du jour, the scandal of the moment, is that billions are not flowing into Gaza right now to support President Abbas.
I think we've run out of time on the questions, and we come to that point in the proceedings where we're going to vote on the motion that this House believes that Arab governments have failed the Palestinians. Would you please take your voting devices? You press 1 if you are for the motion, you press 2 if you're against, and would you please do that now? You only need to press once, you don't continually need to press, just once, and we'll get the results very quickly. The vote is coming up now. We'll see it any moment now, and it looks as if the motion has been carried resoundingly, 72.3 for the motion and 27.7 against. It's been carried decisively. Thank you very much. So for now, it just remains for me to thank the audience for coming and our distinguished panelists, of course. We'll be back in November. Join us then. For now, have a safe journey home. Thank you and good night.